Welcome to the Impact Marriage Podcast, a place for open and honest conversation about marriage, including very practical advice about how to have a God-honoring marriage. We're your hosts, Allan and Nicole Blain, with 33 years of marriage since the age of 20 and 6 children raised. We desire to help you enjoy a passion-filled, mission-driven, relationship-rich marriage.
Welcome to episode 8, health tips that will greatly benefit your marriage. Last week's episode, we talked about leaving and cleaving, the marriage principle that couples must understand. This week, we are so excited and pumped because we get to discuss something that is really, truly near and dear to our hearts, and that is the topic of health and how it can either hurt or tremendously bless a marriage. So what's the plan?
Well, let's start with some statistics, shall we?
Okay.
Okay. So, this might surprise some of our listeners, but after we share some statistics with you relating to health, then we're going to discuss the negative impact poor health and fitness has on marriage, because this is, after all, a marriage podcast, right?
That's right.
And then we'll follow that by talking about the blessings that great health and fitness can how it can positively impact your marriage. Mm-hmm. And then we'll end with sharing some things that we do and that you can do and that you can implement yourself to set yourself up for success. So let's start off with, why should people even listen to us on this topic of health and fitness, Nicole?
Well, first off, we've been involved in health and fitness for 25 years.
That's right.
So at age 54, this year, we're going to be 54. Neither one of us have been on any medications whatsoever.
Zero.
And
thank the Lord.
I know, I'm so grateful. And we are just both incredibly healthy by the grace of God. Some examples, like we've only been sick, I think, like meaning a cold, flu, or COVID 2 times, just 2 times each in the past 20 years, which
Thankful.
I am so incredibly thankful. And in our mid 50s, we both still walk or run at least 20, 30 miles each week, sometimes more. And we live pretty consistently 6 days a week, pain-free. As far as hormones go, I'm, at that age, perimenopause.
Age.
Yes, I'm at that age, 53, almost 54. And I feel amazing. Like there's no hormonal imbalances, no hot flashes. Sex drive is up. It's incredible. Yeah,
it is incredible.
I am so thankful. Yeah, of course you're going to say that.
I am so blessed. You're blessed. I'm blessed. We're all blessed.
Yes.
And that's why we're so passionate about health. I mean, and even like talking about hormones, I'm weeks away from turning 54. Nicole's a couple months behind me, but like testosterone or low T, right? I mean, when you look at
that's a big one, by the way.
It's a huge
lot
one.
Of guys I did not realize
huge
have very low testosterone.
And how you know it's huge is turn on the TV and look at all the low T medication ads on the television, right? They would be running
true
and spending millions and millions of dollars on the ads if it wasn't a major problem. But anyway, normal, what they call normal testosterone levels for men, women have testosterone too, but for men, it's between 300 and 900. You'll read different things, but actually the lab report, I just got my blood work done last year at 53 years old. And the lab report said normal range was 300 to 890. And my testosterone, and which typically, fades or lowers, I guess, as you age, was 882. And so just an example, and it's a huge blessing, but just an example, this isn't a brag podcast. It's just an example to say, hey, we've studied this stuff. We've applied what we've learned, and we're still learning and we're still applying and we're still growing for the last 25 years. And it's paid off in spades. We have amazing, intimate physical relations almost daily with zero issues in that department, or any health matter, any health area, if I can speak,
get tongue-tied.
For That's that matter.
Yeah.
And we wish this for you and your marriage. It's not about us. It's about you, our listeners. But we wish this for you because our health is our number one earthly asset. Health
Mhm.
is true wealth. So many people will work a lifetime or a big chunk of a lifetime trying to acquire wealth and freedom, um, or the illusion of freedom, only to hope that basically to sacrifice their health,
Mhm. Yeah.
which then affects their relationships, not just their marriage, of course,
Yeah.
their marriage, but all relationships. And then they'll spend the last few years in their life trying to buy back their health, which may or may not be a very good plan. So,
Mhm.
and also, why we're passionate about this and we're so excited about talking about this topic today is how
Mhm.
can we, as believers, as followers of Christ, well, yeah, this is about our marriage, but it's also, we have this, we name the podcast Impact Marriage because we want to, as individuals
Mhm.
and as a couple, we want to
That's right.
impact others, or we want to impact our children positively, right? We want to
Mm.
positively impact our church, our community, our city, our state, our nation, and beyond. And how can we serve? How can you serve if you don't have your health? How can you be to your spouse and your
Mhm.
children and others?
And being an example, I feel like that's important too, not just serving, but being a really good example to others
It's a great point,
and to your
Nicole.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we do that if we don't have our health? So, um, I personally feel that if I've met people that say they have the mindset, hopefully it's not you, our listener, but they have the mindset of, hey, we're all gonna die of something. What
Mhm.
what why worry so much about trying to, eat healthy and do all this exercise and do all these things and you're gonna die anyway. Like you're gonna die of something. Why does it really matter? To that I say, how selfish.
Well, and you
How
could die a
selfish.
slow death. You wanna, like, for the
Right.
days you are on earth, live an abundant, like,
Right.
energetic life.
100%.
Yeah.
You're talking about health span
Health
versus
span.
lifespan, right? I mean,
Yeah,
lifespan's
because
how long you live. Health span's how long you're really living.
yeah,
Truly living.
truly, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like, man, for the person that just says, "Oh, I'm gonna die of something, what's it matter? Why try?" Basically, what a selfish mindset, you know? It's like, well, if you become one of the statistics, which we'll talk about statistics here next, but I think it's 78%, 76 or 78% of the population today has a chronic disease. If you become one of those, who's going to be the one taking care of you
Mm,
when you
it's
lose your feet to
good question.
diabetes or when you are obese or when you're whatever the case may be, right? You have dementia and you lose your memory. Who's taking care of you? Your most loved ones, your spouse likely.
Mhm.
And that's okay with you. It's not okay with me. Now, again, I have no control. I mean, I may have some major health something beset me in the future that's out of my control, but I at least want to be a good steward of the
Mm,
temple that
it's
God gave
good.
me and at least love my wife and others enough to say, I want to set myself up in the best position possible, stack the cards in my deck and stack the deck in my favor. Is that how you say
Yeah.
it? Stack the deck in my favor.
Yes.
To give myself the best chance to
It's
be
good.
able to serve my spouse and
Yeah.
others. So,
So true.
um, anything to add to that before we jump to statistics?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's all
So,
good.
and by the way, I am so grateful to have a spouse that values health the same way, that values staying healthy and fit for me and for herself and for her children and for others. It is
Oh,
such a
thank you.
tremendous blessing as a husband, I can
And
tell
vice
you.
versa. I'm thankful too.
Thank you. Such a blessing. But some statistics real quick before we really jump into the meat of this. Did you know 70%, it's over now, it's over 70% of the population, according to the CDC, is either overweight or obese today? When you
Mm.
look at diabetes, almost 50% of everybody you and I know is either pre-diabetic or diabetic,
And we're seeing children now,
and
like,
children in
starting to get
droves.
yeah,
Yeah.
diabetes, yeah.
And when you talk about mental illness, did you know 1 in 5 are formally diagnosed 20% with a mental illness every single year? And when you look at, I mentioned dementias a minute ago, when you look at stuff like Alzheimer's, um, yeah, Alzheimer's, 1 in 9. It was about 10 years ago, the statistic was 1 in 10 people would have Alzheimer's by the age of 65. We're now at 1 in 9 will have
Mhm.
Alzheimer's by the age of 65. Did you know, and back to chronic disease statistics, 7 out of 10, it's 78% or 76%, I can't remember. So it's closer to 8 out of 10, but we'll say 7 out of 10 people in America today have a chronic disease. And if you're listening in another country, odds are you're not that far behind us. You're really not that far behind us. Some of the healthier countries like New Zealand and Australia and some of these different ones,
Yeah.
they're not that far behind
Mm-mm.
us in statistics. Okay. So Canada, very similar to the US. But anyway, 7 out of 10 have a chronic disease today. And when you start breaking that down by age, 60% of everybody 18 to 34. This is amazing. This is young. 18 to 34-year-olds, 60% have a chronic disease today. When you move up to the next age group, 35 to 64,
Mm.
78% have a chronic disease today. When you move up to age 65 and over, get this, 93%
Wow.
are living with one or more
93%?
chronic
That is
diseases
huge.
today. And it's a sad, sad state of affairs.
Wow.
And again, why we're so passionate about
Yeah.
getting this message out.
Yeah. So, what are some ways? Let's talk about some ways, poor health and fitness negatively affect a marriage. We could think of a whole bunch. And so we just,
There's many,
yeah.
many
Yeah.
more than we could
I
even
mean, we,
mention
we
probably
could have
today.
listed so many more, but we're like, okay, we got to keep this pretty short, or pretty tight. One is a lack of physical intimacy. So, if you have poor health and fitness, it's going to definitely reduce sexual drive and performance. The better health you have, I mean, you're going to feel great. Um, there's going to be, a lot happening in the bedroom. I'll say that. There aren't going to be struggles. I mean, like, yeah, I think you mentioned, as far as, or maybe you haven't mentioned, but, even men with low
Right.
testosterone
Yeah.
have, issues. So it's not just the women, a lot of times we think, oh, it's the men that want it, and they don't have the issues, but no, it's both male and female. And then also a lack of shared activities. So
Can I just say something real
yeah,
quick? Back to the lack of physical intimacy. That's not normal. Okay, it may be
mm-mm,
kind of normal today, but it's not, it
no,
shouldn't be normal. It shouldn't be normal that there's so many physical problems in these different areas. It shouldn't be normal that 76% of people have a chronic disease. As an example, if you go back to 1940, 1 in 10, so 10%. Okay, let me say this a different way. In 1940, just to give you some
mm-hmm,
perspective on how far we've come in the wrong direction as it relates to health, 10% had a chronic disease in their lifetime. Today, 78% have a chronic disease in their lifetime, or chronic disease just of people alive today, higher probably in their lifetime, because people 65 or over, it's 93%.
yeah,
So that's where we've gone. So just to say that all the people with, hormonal issues, and we'll talk about menopause and perimenopause and PMS and stuff later, but hormonal issues for men, hormonal issues for women, it's rampant, right? So it feels normal because of the society we live in today,
mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm,
it shouldn't be normal. It hasn't always been,
mm-hmm.
and it shouldn't be. So
No, yeah, definitely shouldn't. Like, I in my 20s struggled with some major health issues. And I guess I won't say what, I won't go into what, but I was extremely tired. And, there was other things that went with it as well. And that really, really affected our marriage in so many ways. When you say that, those were the hardest times with
yeah,
my health issues.
why don't you share what
Well, yeah. So I had some chronic fatigue, major chronic fatigue going on.
in the mid 20s, right?
I was diagnosed at age 27 and fibromyalgia, which was not fun at all. Thankfully, it was only in my legs. Some people have it in different, like their arms, legs, and other places. And then I had irritable bowel syndrome. That was awful. Sent me to the emergency room a few times.
I remember you
And
waking up in the night saying,
yes.
my stomach's hurting, take
Oh,
me to
yeah,
ER."
it just felt like knives, like, yeah, felt like acid was burning my stomach. I was in
Mm,
fetal position every night, just crying in pain. I don't know if you believe me that I was in that much pain. So yeah, I would drive myself to ER because I just wanted them to numb it. It hurt so bad.
I had no
And of
idea.
course, that was happening pretty much every night. And of course, if that happens, what's going to happen? You're not going to sleep well. So I had insomnia through the roof. It was horrible. And then that led to, major depression. And then my hormones were completely out of whack. So I was a mess.
Terrible
And,
PMS.
and I would say that was the hardest time we went through, because I guess we could talk about later, but that put a lot on Allan's plate because I couldn't do well. That goes into our next topic, kind of, I guess you can say, is, lack of shared activities.
We're still
So,
on the negative effects of
yes.
poor health and fitness on a marriage, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Before that, we talked about physical intimacy. So
A lack
now
of
that,
physical intimacy.
yeah, a lack.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you for clarifying. And so now we're going to talk about lack of shared activities. So when you're not healthy, it's going to limit the ability to do recreational stuff, social stuff. I mean, if you have high anxiety, there are some, couples, someone in a marriage that maybe might have high anxiety, and they're like, I don't want to go to this social outing because my anxiety is through the roof, and it really could affect the marriage, or just other activities together. And what happens is it just weakens the bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just puts so much stress on a marriage. And then also increased conflict and negative interaction is another one. Health challenges can escalate to conflicts because the other spouse may not, for example, understand truly what's going on.
Right.
I know, yeah, you didn't understand
No.
at first in the beginning until I got a diagnosis and the doctor said, you have this. I'm like, see, I
Yeah.
told you I'm dying. No, but it felt like I was dying. It was awful. But, and he probably was like, what's wrong with her? Is she just being lazy? She can hardly get off this
Yeah, I mean,
couch
I
or
didn't know
take
back
care of the
then.
kids,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then another one is poor mental health. It could cause poor mental health. And that stress and guilt, like I talked about from poor health, it's linked to depression, which it's going to reduce the desire for emotional support and can cause partners to withdraw, creating a cycle of loneliness. I remember when I had all, my health issues, I definitely went through that. And I definitely felt, lonely, and I withdrew. I felt like I didn't want to go to family events. I felt awful. And it probably, yeah, it confused you. Like, what is wrong with her? This is not the woman I
No.
married, not the outgoing, happy, healthy. I was a college athlete. It's like, come on.
Not what anyone dreams
Quit.
about on their wedding day, from either perspective, the healthy spouse or
Yes.
the unhealthy spouse, for sure.
Yeah. And then also, it could put a financial strain on a marriage. All the costs, like you don't think about. I mean, I wish we saved all the receipts. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars, on all my medical bills.
On a
And
police officer's salary, single
yes,
income police
I mean,
officer's salary with
and I
a
think
family of 5.
and I think a lot of people can relate to this when, you're sick. Yeah, I mean, you'll do anything, and to get your spouse better. I mean, I went to supposedly the best holistic doctor, and that cost a lot of money because he was the best in Southern California. And we were living there at the time, but wasn't cheap. But,
No.
he was willing to get me better, do anything, and that didn't help me. There were so many things. And the doctors at one time scared me and said, we need to test for stomach cancer when I was going through my IBS. And that put stress on our marriage. It's like, oh my goodness, I might have cancer. But then everything was fine and it was just IBS. Thank goodness. But I mean, there was a lot we went
Yeah.
through. So yeah. And then, when one spouse is chronically ill, it could act as a stressor, and it could put a lot of stress on the marriage and also potentially cause depression in one or both partners,
Right.
not just the other partner, depending on how bad it gets. And the healthy spouse may even suffer from caregiver burnout. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that, but it is a thing where the other person, the caregiver, which could be, your spouse, just gets burnt out taking care of their loved one. And of course they will, but it's just like, it's not easy.
Not easy.
Not easy. Depending on how bad it is.
We've
And
never
then,
been that bad, thankfully.
yeah.
neither one of our health
And
in
if
the
you have
past.
poor health also, one thing I thought of too is infertility issues. There are a lot of couples now
Huge.
with infertility issues that they say 1 in 9 couples are infertile. And this could put so much stress on a marriage, just going through that. And we can kind of relate because we went through that. I mean, we had 3 children, but Alan had a vasectomy. And then
After the 3, yeah.
after the 3, and we wanted more children, and we couldn't get pregnant. And I mean, we were thankful. Of course, we had 3 children, so blessed, but we wanted more. And just that
Well, we
little
weren't trying to get pregnant with a vasectomy.
no, no,
You
yeah.
skipped the reversal
Oh, I
part.
forgot the reversal. Thank you, hon.
Then I had the reversal surgery
Yes.
after the vasectomy.
Yes, he did. 6 years later, he had a reversal, and, we were trying to achieve pregnancy and couldn't. And that I mean, we had a little stress, and I can't imagine, like, not being able you want a child so, so bad and not being able
Right.
to conceive. I mean, we had
Ours was
3.
only 2 years of trying and
Yes.
not being able to before God miraculously gave us 3 more. After the doctor said, "You are incapable of" the surgery was a failure. It's been 2 years. The reversal surgery was 2 years earlier. You're scientifically, it's not possible for you all to achieve pregnancy. Sorry, you're one of the 50% that it didn't work for. Too bad.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, probably after that conversation with the doctor.
Well, I did not get depressed, I trusted God in that situation, and, literally, I was praying, and I felt like the Lord was telling me, "You need to be thankful for the 3 you have."
Mm,
And I was content with the 3. I'm like, "If I don't have any more, then we're good." And I think it was, like, a couple weeks after that, I got pregnant with Caitlin, so ta-da! Yeah.
it's such a blessing. So we have 3 reversal
Yeah.
babies, but for those that are truly
Yes.
infertile and
I
can't have
can't
children,
imagine.
it's what
No.
you were saying.
Oh.
It just it's going to be a high cost for fertility treatment or
Oh, yeah.
adoption if you go down
Fertility
either one of
treatment.
those roads, which is
Yes, it's
obviously
gonna
having.
yes, that's gonna cost, it's gonna cost, a small fortune for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, just the stress, you can I mean, I know some couples that have fertility problems that, they go into depression because
Mhm.
it's that hard. And then just the time, time is everything. So going to these doctor visits, that's a big one. And then there's also hormonal imbalances, um, and not just in, women, but men too.
Right.
But women, there's
Is that menopause?
PMS, well, yeah, it could be.
Oh, okay.
So for women, PMS, and that's what I had, the exaggerated PMS, really bad.
Again, that shouldn't be
And
normal.
and then that puts stress on a marriage. Like, whenever I had the exaggerated PMS is bad as it is, but when I had exaggerated, he did not wanna be around me. Um
I say that was the kind of PMS no woman should have to ever
No.
endure,
Yes.
let
It
alone
was
her husband.
awful. It was awful. So, and
It
then
was
there's,
bad.
perimenopause and menopausal issues, and that's not easy,
Mm,
with
that's
night
what we hear.
sweats. I mean, yeah, we've heard from other couples, like, the woman's tossing and turning, soaks the bed, like, because of just sweating so bad, and then she wakes up her husband, they're not sleeping good,
Mhm.
and we'll go into sleep later, but, and then, it could cause, like, PCOS, thyroid issues, endometriosis, and then sleep problems. I've just mentioned that, and just so much more.
That's right. And even for men, I mean, we mentioned this earlier, but low
Mhm.
testosterone, I mean, that is a hormonal problem, right? Testosterone is a hormone. So let's talk about some of the ways that great health that you mentioned. Those were some great
I know, I
points
had
of like how
all
poor
the
health can
negative.
negatively affect
I
a
had to do all
marriage.
the negative ones. You get to do the positive?
And by no means was that an exhaustive list. That was just
Yeah.
some of the ways. And by no means am I going to rattle off all the positive benefits, the ways, health, great health and fitness can positively impact a marriage, but I'll name a few. Okay. So, first of all, increased physical intimacy with better fitness. It enhances health and fitness, right? When our bodies are functioning the way God designed them to function, it's going to enhance libido. It's going to
Yep.
reduce, increase sex drive. It's going to reduce the likelihood of any kind of sexual dysfunction. and it's going to provide more energy. We're going to have more energy if our bodies are functioning the way God intended them to. Speaking of hormones, adrenal glands that produce adrenaline
Mm,
for energy.
another one.
They should be functioning. That's the way they should be functioning, right? So as our health is improving, we're going to have better fitness. It's going to provide more energy for daily life and all the
Mhm.
tasks and chores, good, working chores and playing playful chores and playful activity that we want to do. We're going to have more energy for that. It's going to also better facilitate shared activities and bonding together. Couples who exercise together build companionship. Nicole and I are so blessed to be able to work out.
Yeah,
We go to the gym
love it.
typically 6 days a week, every day but Sunday. And we do cardio together and we lift weights we strength train together every day, 6 days, or every day we're there 6 days a week. And the companionship that
Oh,
we get from that, the
so much fun.
conversations and that we
Such
get
good
from that.
conversations. Some
Um,
of our best conversations are either at the gym or in the shower.
Yep, yep, 2 of our favorite
Yes.
places, and bed would be 3rd.
Oh, yes, bed.
But anyway, so we're building companionship, we're strengthening our emotional bonds through that, we're
Mhm,
turning our personal, wellness goals into shared team-based
mhm,
activities, holding each other accountable and challenging each other. Great health also does another thing, it reduces stress and it
mhm,
improves mood. So, regular physical activity helps do these things. Well, you've got to have your health to have regular physical activity, which then it's either a vicious cycle that works against you or it's a positive cycle that works for you.
mhm,
When you have your health, you can exercise, you can move the body, which reduces stress, which improves conflict resolution, and it just fosters a more positive, supportive home environment. Quite frankly, another thing,
it's almost like like a antidepressant or
yeah,
it's a mood
for
enhancer.
sure.
So, yeah, I just know when I work out with you and afterwards, I'm just feeling like on this high. I feel so
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
especially after I have my lunch, my shake, and yeah,
Yeah. There was a quote you reminded me. There's a quote that
yeah,
I don't know if I'll get it right here, but it said, if all the benefits of exercise, and we're talking about exercise now, but
yeah.
if all the benefits of exercise could be put in a pill and
I think I've heard
sold,
that before.
it would be the
Selling, yeah,
number one selling medication. If it was a medication on the market, it would
for
be the
supplements, yeah.
greatest selling, yeah, whatever of all time,
Yeah,
which is true.
yeah, I
The
agree with that.
dopamine hit, all the
Oh,
benefits of exercise, just so good, so good.
helps with hormones and
Blood
everything.
pressure,
Yep,
everything.
everything.
Yeah, we could go down the list and do a whole talk on that, but we won't. But um, it's also going to improve relationship quality. Your
Mhm,
higher self-rated uh, physical health directly correlates with higher marital quality. It just does.
mhm,
Um, and better health provides a mutual support system. Couples often, can encourage each other, like we do, to
mhm,
maintain healthy habits. To, hey, what we should be eating, or what we shouldn't be eating, or we're working out, or not skipping a workout, or whatever it is that we're encouraging each other to do. And it just builds an amazing supportive partnership. So these are just a few of the many. I mean, it makes you more productive in your day job, right? At work, if you have health
yeah,
and energy and
yeah,
vitality. I mean, this list could be long, but there are
mhm,
so many, you know, as many negative health effects on the marriage of having poor health. There's equally as many positive advantages and benefits to our marriages
mhm,
of really going after the best health we can possibly have, right?
yeah, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about some strategies,
Mm,
some of our core strategies. I mean, they're not our
okay,
strategies, just core strategies, I guess, for couples that are really,
yeah,
tuning in. They're going, hey, how can I level up my health and
okay.
fitness?
The first is, of course, physical activity. You could share some realistic goals, depending on where you're at. You could just start out with baby steps and, like a 10-minute walk rather than, running a marathon. It's so neat. I was talking to my friend the other day and she was saying how she's going to do this walk. It's like a 100-mile walk in Ireland. And I guess this is like a new thing. These people do walks, different countries and stuff, these long
Sounds
walks.
like fun.
And you could do it as a group or as a couple. And she's saying this one couple does it. And I'm like, That would be so fun to do with you. Like go to another country and do like a
Sign me up.
100-mile walk. And you don't do it all in one day, but like maybe, I don't know, 7, 10 miles a day. And then you stay in a bed and breakfast. And I'm like, oh, that would just make for a red hot marriage. So,
You
hey,
gotta have
maybe
your health to
somebody
do
could do
this.
that. Yeah.
Gotta have
So
your health to do
you
it,
got to
right?
have your health. That's
And you
right.
can't be spending all your money on health problems and
That's right.
medications and
But
treatment, or you can't
yeah.
afford to do that.
But that's something you can do is just walk with your, spouse in the neighborhood. But if you want to set a fun goal like that, you can go out of the country, take a trip and walk, get exercise while you're, trailing through the country. And then also moving together, engage in activities you both enjoy to build accountability and motivation. It could be, low impact like hiking, walking, like I mentioned, cycling together. It can be pickleball.
Could be
I
anything.
don't know if that's low impact though. Pickleball is
Yeah, I would
pretty
say
intense.
so.
Pretty intense. It depends, huh?
I would
Depends who
say.
you're playing,
I don't
maybe.
know.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Um,
jumping or running,
yeah.
I don't know.
And then also, another thing is like social and fun. Sign up for a dance class. We've always wanted to do that, and we have not done that yet. Is like a tango or I don't know.
Salsa dance or
Yes,
something together.
somebody. I think it's Brendan. He's probably going to hear this, but I think he did a dance class in Nashville with Jody, or he said there was dance classes. I can't remember, but it was like swinging, country western
Oh yeah.
singing, and he invited us. I'm like, oh, that'd be so fun. It could be something like that. You could be pickleball. It could be, some team sport. I know couples that play baseball, or I guess it's softball, right? It's a bunch of couples that play
Soft.
softball.
I guess that would be softball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be something like that. Yeah. And then there's also, you could work on strength together, like Alan and I do. We do weight training, which improves communication, like Alan talked about, and it also fosters a culture of support. He is my
Yes.
biggest supporter. I call him my coach. It's amazing. I wish I could support you. I don't feel like I do when it comes to weight training, but you support me
No,
more.
you definitely do. I love it.
But yeah, go ahead.
So another one besides physical activity, that's a good one that you
Yeah.
mentioned, would be to prioritize sleep. And
That's huge.
we're just even in the
So
recent months, like I would say the last 6 months,
we're taking it
we've
serious lately.
really leveled up our game. We're taking it
Yes.
serious.
Tell
Yeah.
them what we have. What is that? The 8 sleep 8? I
8
always
sleep.
8 sleep. Sorry. I
So yeah,
always
we
forget.
invested in I don't even know what to call it. It's called 8 sleep. 8 sleep.
Oh, highly recommend.
EIGHT sleep. Yeah, and it's just a cover, like a
Mhm.
mattress cover that reads your biomechanical markers. It reads your pulse. It reads your breath rate. Right.
If you're
It's almost
snoring, how much you
basically
snore.
the best way I could describe it is a smartwatch
Yeah,
for
exactly like that.
sleeping with
Pretty
different
much.
things that a smartwatch doesn't do, like how many minutes were you snoring and just different things
Mhm.
like that. And it just heart
Set heart
rate,
rate.
yeah,
Yeah.
heart rate
Mhm.
variability. It does
Your
all these different
REM,
things.
deep
Yeah,
sleep.
how many
Yep.
minutes was REM? How many minutes was deep sleep? A lot of the stuff
Mhm.
that some of the smartwatches will do, but it's even more. But what it also does, not to get all off on eat sleep,
Yeah,
but
sorry. I got you off on a rabbit
but
trail.
but
I'm
what
good
it
at that.
also does is it adjusts temperature. That's probably the best thing it
Oh,
does. So
women. Yes. That
yeah,
are going through perimenopause, menopause. Yeah,
yeah,
you would love it.
it will adjust temperature. Like I don't know, mine. I'll look at the report, and I probably it averages between 20 and 30 adjustments a night, warming it up or cooling it down, depending on my body
Mhm.
heat, and it
Mine
does
does it too.
each half of the bed. So her half and my half is
Yeah.
two separate apps. So, anyways, yeah. So we have that.
So great.
Um,
We sleep better now
and that has
because of it.
definitely been a good thing. I wouldn't say it's
Mhm.
game changer, but that
Yeah.
that is, every little bit helps. It's been helpful. But really sleep, I feel like it is the health hack
Mhm.
of all health hacks. It is so important to eat right. We're going to get to that. It is so important to exercise. Nicole just talked about that. It is so important to take good quality supplements. It's so important to do some of these a lower stress in the body and do some of these things. Everyone's important. But honestly, prioritizing sleep is the cheapest. It's free, and it is effective or more effective than, I mean, you can't say it's more effective than eating
Yeah.
or drinking
But
water,
as we're getting older, we're
but it's
realizing
big.
how important it is. And also, we both know that winners go to bed early. wake up early and they get a good at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep, wouldn't you
Right.
say?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, people will go, well, I can get by on 6 or 5 or whatever. Sure, you can get by and your body can acclimate to it, but it is not the optimal amount of sleep. 7 to 9 hours, more like 8 to 9 is just if you want to really optimize, is going to help with so many different things. It's when your body regenerates, it's going to help with anti-aging. People that
Yeah.
are getting the sleep they need are going to age slower. People that aren't getting the sleep they need, check them out. They're aging faster inside and out where you can see. So 7 to 9 weight loss, metabolism, all affected by sleep. I mean, it's the weight loss hack too, getting enough sleep. So I could go on and on about sleep, but it's going to help with communication. There's going to be fewer arguments if we're rested and sleeping well.
True.
You know, I mean, a couple that's prioritizing their sleep, and it takes intentional
Oh, it
prioritization
does.
because there are so many things to pull at us, like, from our phones to television
Mhm.
to people to events to a lot of things to food to drink. There's a lot of things that can make people stay up later than they should. And if you will prioritize your sleep, like we've really been
Mhm.
intentional about the
We're
last,
getting so
again, I
good
think
because
about
we're
6
really
months.
realizing how important it is.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
We can show up, you can show up as your best self for each other. It allows for getting to bed earlier, allows for better daily connection time. It's going to
Mhm.
improve mental health. It's going to give you more energy for physical intimacy. And it's just going to facilitate that a whole lot better than going to bed late and exhausted. Everything is
Yes.
better
Yes.
with intentional sleep, getting to bed early, waking up then allows you to facilitates waking up earlier and getting that 7 minimum to optimally 8, maybe even 9 hours of sleep each night.
Yeah. And then let's talk about stress management. That's another
That's
one.
another big one.
Yeah, that's huge. I know, like, in this world we live in today, it's just go, 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 right? Um, but one thing, that Al and I did is we totally removed alcohol from our lives. And, alcohol, it plays a huge part,
And life is so much
as far
better.
as it puts a lot of stress on the body. It's not good for the body. And, we come to realize, and you do stupid things too, when you drink. And some people can drink, and be okay, not overdo it. But you're seeing on Instagram now, even young people are like removing alcohol completely out of their lives
And I do
because they're realizing,
I'm
what,
sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you.
go ahead.
I just gonna say I do know that I do know of people that could literally have one drink and milk that thing for 2 hours
Yes.
and just be perfectly
Yeah.
fine, like the alcohol doesn't have control over them apparently. But now studies are coming out saying even one drink a week,
Hmm.
one drink a
Yeah.
week. I don't know who drinks and drinks less than one drink a week, but maybe they're out there. But one
Yeah.
drink a
Right.
week,
Yeah.
the percentage, and I don't remember the percentage, but that it raises your risk of acquiring a chronic disease is staggering. I
Mhm.
mean,
And
that
cancer, yeah,
alone, maybe it was
twice.
cancer
Yeah.
specifically, but that alone for us is enough to say. I mean, we're not doing this
Mhm.
podcast saying everybody should give up alcohol completely,
Yeah.
although we're thankful we did. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah. So, and then another thing is getting to bed earlier, like Alan mentioned, that is going to help because you sleep better. That is
Less
going to, yeah,
stress,
less stress. Exercise
less
helps with
stress.
that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've noticed. I can be super stressed out and then I go exercise and then after the workout, I'm just like, stress is gone.
Yeah,
It's
dopamines are up.
Yep. Yeah,
Dopamine,
it's
not
the feel good.
dopamines.
Yeah, the feel good hormone. So, and then also good financial stewardship. So, if you're handling your money well, I mean, that is going to help stress. Just spending less than what you make. Um,
Or making more than you're spending. Either
yeah,
way
yeah,
works.
true.
Increase the
Um,
income or decrease the spending. That's the two options,
yeah,
or
yeah.
both.
And then also budgeting, your money well, and then eliminating high interest debt. Definitely want to just get rid of
Credit
that.
cards.
Yes, because yeah, I've heard credit cards. We've never had a, huge issue in that department. I mean, but we have had, some it go up and then we had to pay it. And it's like, oh man, how did we let it get so high? But
Yeah.
anyways, but it does put huge stress on a marriage, wouldn't you say?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely want to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. And then getting off our phones and turning off the TVs is going to help with stress for sure. Some of us could get really addicted to our phones, or, maybe we are addicted to a certain TV show or football game. I don't know. And then too much can cause loneliness in the other spouse, which leads to stress for your spouse. Um, because then you're like, they're spending too much time doing this and not spending time with me,
Someone's
which,
being neglected.
yeah, exactly. Not to mention too much TV or social media, depending on what you're viewing, can cause stress for you. So,
That's right.
and then also having sex on a regular basis is going to help with
It's
stress
true. So what's a regular basis?
every day or
Every day.
more. Like, is it a couple times a day or every day?
Every day. That sounds like a great plan.
Every day. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that. No, you're right. It is definitely a huge gift from God to relieve stress. That's for darn
I
sure.
had a wise woman, an older woman, tell me before that, yeah, if you're feeling stress, a woman's feeling stress, it is important to have that sexual intimacy because it will help it.
Wise
So,
woman.
yes.
All right. So, okay. So another thing that's part of this plan of this health journey, right, is eating and cooking healthy. Eating and cooking healthy. So one thing we do and we highly recommend and teach others is limit eating out. We do eat out. We do enjoy eating
Yeah.
out on occasion, but
Yeah.
it's the
Hardly ever.
exception, not the rule. Now, that
Mhm.
has not always been the case. We've gone through seasons in past years where, boy, we were eating out multiple times a week.
Yes. In the beginning of our marriage.
And
Yes.
now we eat out.
If it's
How often
date
do you think
night
we eat
or when
out?
we travel, that's the only time.
Date night or travel
Yeah.
for the
Otherwise, we
most
do
part? Yeah,
not eat out.
that's a good synopsis of it, which means on average, maybe we eat out once a week.
Not even
Maybe.
that.
I don't know. We travel a good
No,
bit.
not even that.
I'm only saying that because we travel a good bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
if we're
But
home, if we're home, we wouldn't probably even average eating
shouldn't.
out once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do date nights where we don't have to eat out.
Well, and
It
I
could
was going to
be
get to that. That's a good point.
okay.
No, you're right on. You're right
Okay.
on
I'm
script.
sorry. I'm
I
getting
like
the
it.
horse before the cart here.
No, you're reading my mind. But no, but like instead of high calorie restaurants, there's some alternative date ideas that we like to do, or some ideas you might consider trying is, try a cooking. Now, this is something we haven't done together, but try a cooking class together. Okay.
Mhm.
That could be a fun
That
date. Go
would be
try a cooking
fun.
class or find an international market to explore some new flavors together.
Yep.
Right. Or what we love to do is stay home and cook together.
Yes.
How fun is that? You're
That's
getting to
way
do it
better.
together.
That's way better.
You're getting to cook together. You're getting to do maybe other things together. And you're getting to eat healthy. Another thing, meal prep. This is something that if you've never experienced it, it's the whole idea. Well, there's a few ideas behind it, I guess, without going all into meal prep, but it's going to be for convenience throughout the week. If you meal prep your whole week in advance, it's convenient. All right.
Mhm.
So that you have something to reach for at the appropriate time. That's a good choice instead of reaching for a bad choice. But the other big benefit is it's measured portions. So
Mhm.
it's going to encourage portion control because you know exactly what you're eating, when, and how much. It's not left to the urges that we have when we're hungry because you're doing it all on let's say a Sunday afternoon for the whole week ahead.
Yeah. Well, an example too, like one thing that we are going to do because we're going on vacation in a few days and we're bringing some of our own food. Like we're
That's right.
meal prepping some because
Yeah.
we know we could eat.
Yep.
Al and I, we love to eat. And
We
so,
love food.
yes, yeah. And so we want to be careful. We know we're going to be eating out because, we're going to be on vacation. And so we're bringing some of our
Yeah.
own food so we can, yeah,
Eat healthier.
eat healthier, fill
Yeah.
up our tummies, and then have the other stuff
Yeah.
and be too
Things
full to eat
like
the other stuff. That's, yeah, probably not what we're used to.
right. Things like almonds, things like cans of chicken breast in a can, things like protein shakes, things like healthy protein bars.
And we'll probably go to the store when we're there and get cottage cheese and
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then
and we will
yeah, get your power greens because we make our green drinks before every
every
meal.
night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not before every meal, but
I mean, yeah,
before
before
yeah,
every
every
dinner.
dinner.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so those are some of the things that takes intentionality, because the easy thing is just to go with the flow, and then you're starving and you're hungry and you're just, where can I get food? And you go, and then the choices are limited, right? But when we
Yeah.
plan ahead, we have some of these healthy things we can eat even before we eat out. If we're having to eat out, then we're going to eat out less. I mean, we're going to eat less food when we eat out, and we're going to be able to make wiser choices
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
menu because we're not, ravenously hungry.
Yes. And we also have
Um,
bars and protein shakes too
mhm.
that we always bring along, and that
Yep.
helps.
Yep.
And our supplements.
So it's important to make all this to say it's important to make nutritious choices. We need to really make
Mhm.
sure we're putting an emphasis, and we do, on fruits and vegetables. By the way, USDA recommendations when we were kids was 3 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily, 3 to 5. That
Mm.
same USDA is now recommending well, let me back up, 5 to 13 servings a day. And most of us listening to this will fall in the category where they'd recommend 8 to 13
Not enough
servings a day. Why would they recommend 8 to 13 servings a day when they recommended three to
because
five
people aren't getting enough
when I was a
and
kid,
they're
right?
not as nutritious. The foods aren't as nutritious today.
Exactly. The foods aren't as nutritious today. We'll get to that here in a
Yes.
second. But lots of fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, chicken, fish, lean beef, and whole grains, true whole grains, not the high calorie, high carb, you know, gluten laden, quote unquote whole grains you find in the grocery store. That is not whole grains. Okay. And you're like, well, Allan, what are you talking about? It's not whole grains. It says whole grains on it. It's not whole. Trust me. They've removed the
Mhm.
oils, the life giving oils out of those whole grains in the name of shelf life. And how I know they did is because if you take true whole grains and you mill it into flour and you make, say, bread, it will go rancid in what, 3, 4 days,
3 days.
5 days,
Yeah, at
three
least
to five,
3 days. It starts tasting funny.
three
Yeah,
or
and goes
four.
rancid like in 3 days.
Yeah. And I ask you, your whole grain, whole wheat, whatever you got in the grocery store, does it go rancid in 3 or 4 days? No,
Nope.
it doesn't. Okay. So it doesn't have the oils in it. It's not whole.
And we
Okay.
need those
And
oils.
those oils are foundational
Oh,
for
so
cellular health. So
important.
that's a whole nother talk for
Oh, that
another
yeah.
day.
We
But
can go so deep.
but that's why it's important to eat whole grains if you can get true whole grains, to limit saturated fats, salts, too much, especially the unhealthy salt. There's healthy salt and unhealthy salt, and added sugars.
Mhm.
All right. And so that's just some kind of 30,000 foot view of making some nutritious food
Mm.
choices, which is super, super
Yeah.
important.
And another thing is hydration.
Big one.
So important.
Big one.
We try to drink plenty of water, and you should too. And what we drink each day. So in the morning, I have it's a hydration drink, and then also this beet drink, and I get at least a gallon of water daily. And then Alan, he'll do the same thing, have the beet drink, and
I
you
start
do
off
lemon
with
water.
I start
You
off every
start off with
morning
lemon
with like
water.
16 ounces of the beet drink with lemon juice added to
Okay,
it,
he's
and
got
and and
yeah,
creatine.
his recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
do
then
a
I
little
move
bit
on to my
different.
hydration drink,
Yes,
energy
and
drink.
then, yeah, he does the hydration drink, and then he drinks, like, anywhere from 1 to 1.5 gallons, is that right?
Yeah, at least a
Yeah.
gallon, probably closer to a gallon and a
You
half.
drink a lot,
In the
lot more than
summer,
me, but of
at
course
least a gallon and a half.
you're bigger, you're yeah, buffer, bigger. And then, another thing is limit or remove alcohol, like we talked about. Alcohol is a diuretic, so
Yeah.
it
Doesn't hydrate.
dehydrates the body big time. So it's not going to help hydrate. Yeah. And it does the opposite. So like we mentioned, we've removed it. And I'm telling you, life is so much better, healthier, cheaper, and we are happier without it.
100%. And then we take good high quality supplements. We recommend you do the same. We take lots of supplements. Why? We mentioned it earlier. It's because our food doesn't have the nutrients it
Mhm.
once had. We
I
saw
wish it did.
recently, we wish it did.
We wish.
Some people will say, well, God didn't intend us to get nutrients from pills and powders and supplements. I'm like, you're right. He didn't. And he
Mm-mm.
also didn't intend us to strip our soils of minerals and vitamins in our foods.
Mm.
So no, there was a study that we saw from University of Austin not too long ago. It was a 50-year study, and they were looking at, I think, 40 something different fruits and vegetables. And they were looking at, say, spinach was one of them. And they look, okay, how much vitamin C, how much iron, how much this, how much that was in spinach 50 years ago, and how much of those things are in spinach today, right? The 50-year
Mhm.
gap. And I won't go through the whole study with you, but just to paint a quick picture, um, iron. These are some things that came out of the study. Apples and iron. 50 years earlier, one apple would provide the same amount of iron that you'd have to eat 26 apples
That's
to get 50 years
insane.
later, the same amount of iron that was in one apple 50 years
I would be
earlier.
so appled out.
Yeah, appled out. Spinach had dropped 60% less vitamin C. Oranges had 27% less calcium. Overall, another study. This is another study. A study published just in December of last year said there are up to 50%. If you just take all vitamin C, zinc, just all the different things, vitamins and minerals, it's 50% less vitamins, minerals, and protein in our foods today than there was 50, 60, 70 years ago, which makes sense why when the USDA did a study of over
Mhm.
21,500 Americans,
It's
this was several years ago.
crazy.
They took 21,500 Americans, random study.
And some of them, were they healthy or unhealthy? That's what I wanna know.
Well, they were just random
Yeah, so there
21,500
had to been
people.
some healthy health nuts, granola
Absolutely,
moms
I'm
in there?
sure. But the common theme between them was that
Yeah,
they did not take supplements. That was the
okay.
only
Oh,
requirement when they were kind of randomly
okay,
picking
there had to definitely
21,000.
been granola moms in
So you
there,
would
like
think there
myself.
was some very unhealthy people and some very healthy people, and
Yeah,
the whole spectrum on a study that big. It wasn't
yep.
like they picked randomly 10 people. It was 21,500. And they were only testing 10 different nutrients, just 10, not all the vitamins and minerals the body needs, just 10, vitamin A, C, D, E, whatever the basic ones are. And they want to see how many people that don't take supplements got what they needed from diet alone in just 10 nutrient categories. And guess how many do you think they found out of 21,500 that were getting what they needed from their diet in just those
Just
10
guess,
nutrient
guess.
categories?
Let them guess.
Drum
Okay.
roll. Any guesses?
Let's go.
Okay, you got a number? Here's the answer. Zero. Zero.
0, a big fat 0.
And there are numerous, so we have to supplement. We're either going to have compromised health because we're going to be nutrient deficient, which is going to show up in different people at different times in different ways, or we have to eat healthy. We just talked about that, but we also have to supplement our diet. And but the
And
thing that
that's when the supplement industry started going crazy. It's
oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh, we have to supplement? I'm gonna have a business idea. Here we go."
right, you're right.
But yeah,
Eh,
not every supplement is created equal,
no,
right?
no, there's so many supplements out there that are a waste of money, and worse yet, there are several that will actually harm you. There was a FDA. There's been several FDA studies, but there was one FDA study where they looked at, I don't know how many they looked at, but they found almost 700 different brands. Almost 700. It was 670 or 680 different brands that had a hidden ingredient because they took them into the lab and to look what's actually inside them and compare it to what's on the label. They found almost 700 that had a hidden ingredient in it that was known to be unsafe or unstudied, a mystery ingredient that was never listed on the label in a 10-year period. Almost 700 brands. There was another
That
FDA
that
study.
doesn't shock me.
No, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't shock me now. It shocked me then, to learn about this several years
Yeah.
ago. But there was another study where the FDA found nearly 50 different brands just on Amazon and eBay that contained hidden drugs.
Scary.
And then there was a study by the Clean Label Project in
So
2022, I
someone's probably
believe it
taking a
was.
magnesium being like, "Man, this stuff works great, knocks me out." And then there's
Makes me
some
sleep
type of
great.
sleepy drug in there.
Who knows? Who knows? That's why a friend of mine said, a friend of both of ours said, if you don't know how to tell the difference between a diamond and a cubic zirconia, which I wouldn't, right? I don't know how to tell a difference. Maybe you do. He said, if you don't know how, you better trust your source. You better trust your jeweler, right? That's selling you the quote unquote diamond.
That's good.
And he said, likewise, you can't just you may think you know how to read a label, but first of all, labels are
Mm,
not as easy to read and understand as people might think. But secondly, even if you do, who's to say what's on the label is even accurate if you can't trust the source or the
that's right.
company producing it? So this clean label project in 2022 did a study and they found elevated levels of heavy metals and BPA
It's
in
awful.
53 different brands, name brands of protein powders.
That's
It's
awful.
crazy. So
You know what's crazy is, well, we knew someone we were friends with that worked at GNC, and they
mm,
said their best selling protein shake, because you mentioned protein, that was protein, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, was they could label it as natural, and it was sourced from duck feathers and human hair. That's some other things it was
yum.
sourced from. But could you imagine? I mean, hair, yeah, and duck feathers are
Oh wow.
natural. So yeah, kind of scary. But so let's talk about 5 things to look for in a supplement. And the first is, are they sourced from whole foods? And beyond organic, non GMO is
Yep,
extremely important.
yep.
And are the nutrients, are they derived from real food? We're talking apples, oranges, you know, real food that humans eat, that we
That
consume,
God
that God
designed us to
designed.
get nutrition
Yes.
from. That's the point. Yeah.
And then, and not just synthetic. There's so many supplements on the market that are synthetic, but not just synthetic, and not just, a lot of supplements are labeled natural, but natural can mean like it can have tree bark, it could be made out of coral calcium. That was a big one.
Right.
Coral. What else?
Duck
Duck
feathers,
feathers,
human
yeah,
hair, as
human
you
hair, like I
mentioned.
mentioned, but there's so many.
Yeah.
So many
S-
algae. I was
Yep.
taking a protein shake back when I had my health problems, and that was like their, you know, number one source on
That's
the
what we try
back
to
of
get
it.
out of our pools, not
Yes. And I
put on
was
our
like,
plates.
oh my goodness. No, I don't, yeah, sit there and yeah, lick the toilet, the algae in the toilet.
Yuck.
So yeah, that's disgusting. And do they keep the whole families together? For example, I mean, God intended vitamin E to have all 8 parts of the family. Does like the vitamin E, maybe that you're using or that you're wanting to purchase, have all 8 parts? What about the omega 3? It has all 8 parts, not just EPA, DHA, like most people think. It must have all 8. And then the protein family, it must have all 22 amino acids. And the carotenoid family, must have 15, not just beta carotene from carrots you might see on a carotenoid, or lycopene or lutein from what, tomatoes,
Or spinach. Yep.
spinach. Yes. So that's extremely important, because then it can actually, the body recognizes it and it knows what to do. And then you can actually get better.
Yeah. It can actually
And
do.
you're not, yeah, wasting money.
Yep.
Yep.
Nobody wants to
So
just create expensive urine. So yeah,
that's right.
so that's a good one. So you want to look for something that's if you're looking at supplements, you want to look for something that's
Hmm.
whole food sourced, real food source. Second thing is look for credible science. That was something that it was hard for us to find, supplements that
Hmm.
actually had clinical studies on the actual products, not just an ingredient in the product done in a petri dish at some university, but actual the product in a human who swallowed it, and what effect did it have on their blood level of whatever it is they were measuring, right? Something positive. What did it do for their immunity? What did it do for their cholesterol? What did it do for whatever energy, whatever? So yeah, look for something with credible science, actual clinical studies on the actual products with evidence-based outcomes, proving there is benefit to taking them. We don't just want to create expensive urine.
No.
And another thing on this point, were those studies actually published in respected medical journals, not just pay to play pseudoscience marketing ploys that may be called a journal? That's another thing too, because there's so many companies out there using slick sounding words
So,
that really
yeah.
mean nothing.
So
So
that got me, as far as journal, because I'm like, well, what are can you name some that are ones that people
like
would recommend, that are respected
like
medical
an
journals?
American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. You get
Mm-hmm.
something published in there, it's legit. The New England Journal of Medicine, I think I'm saying that right. Another example. Those are
Yes.
two of the biggest, most respected ones in the world. I think there's three big ones. I can't think of the third right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
What's
That's
another
huge.
thing to look
Okay.
for in a supplement,
So
babe, besides
is
whole food and credible
well,
science?
the integrity of the company, that's
Mm,
super important. Like, how did the company start? What's their story? That's super important.
yeah,
Did they just start like, what we mentioned, like, oh, business, this is a business idea. I can make lots of money. Or do they truly care about the consumer?
yeah,
Um, and so that's really important. And then what's their track record? What does it look like? And and where are their products manufactured? That's a huge one because a lot of these supplements people don't know are manufactured like overseas in
right.
China. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I do not, would
No
not
wonder
want
there's
my
hidden drugs and
supplements.
stuff in these
Yes,
supplements.
so
The
scary.
marketers of them don't even know what's in them probably because they're not
Yeah.
manufacturing them.
Yeah. And then are they manufactured with a third party pharmaceutical license, ensuring like what the label says is actually in the product and nothing else?
Mm,
We've seen so many times that whatever, they said in the product, what was in the product was not even in the product.
yeah,
So,
crazy. That's great, Nicole. And a fourth thing to look at when you're evaluating a supplement is the longevity of the company. Again, because you
mhm.
can't trust the label, there's just been too much evidence. You can't trust the label. All you can trust is the company that manufactures them. So if you can't trust the label, which that's where we're at, we don't trust the label unless we only trust the company. So we're only going to trust the label from a company that we trust. So the question is, what's the longevity of the company behind that label? How many years has the company been around? Are they privately owned? Or are they beholden to investors and stock market returns over product quality? What is their rating
Mm,
with the Better Business Bureau?
yeah,
Have you
it's
checked?
good.
Is there any lawsuits in their past?
Hmm.
Have you checked? I mean, this is our health we're talking about. We've wasted way too much money on supplements in the past
Yes,
and
we
food
have.
and everything else that we thought was great, that we didn't realize wasn't so great for us. But
Hmm.
if the company that's marketing these has lawsuits in the past, what are they for? Like, wouldn't that be important to know? Something to consider,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What
for
else do we
sure.
look for?
And then a guarantee. Is there money
It's a good one.
back guarantee? Like that says something right there. Are they confident that these products actually work? Because if you don't have that, then you don't have the confidence that the products actually work. So I
Yeah,
think that's super important.
yeah. Money back guarantee,
Hmm.
always, every time. We sure hope this has been helpful to you, and we trust that if you apply this information, it absolutely will be. Our health is our number one asset. We've said that before on this episode, at least in this lifetime. And without it, we can't be very effective at serving
No,
others, including our spouse, right?
that's right.
And this is why we're so passionate about this topic. In fact, we're so passionate that 11 years ago, we started a part time home business in the health and wellness industry that has, it's gone great. It's grown and it's supporting our family of eight, or has been supporting our family of eight for the past 10
Such a
years.
blessing. Such a
And
blessing.
it has been a blessing. And we
Hmm.
love what we do. We get to help others
Help
with their
others.
health
Yep.
because we've experienced firsthand marriage with poor health in our 20s,
Hmm.
and now marriage with exceptional health for the past 25 years, now in our mid 50s.
Yeah. And I want to tell a story about, I just thought of this. Some friends of ours were on vacation. They were telling us about this very wealthy couple. I mean, they had so much money. They could travel to incredible places, but they were talking about how they both were losing their health. And they're like, we're not going to be able to travel anymore because they weren't even healthy enough to travel. And, that like really struck me. It's like, it broke my heart for one. I'm
Mm,
like, oh my goodness. And just the stress, that it probably is putting on their marriage, but they can't even now enjoy life, like probably with their grandkids and travel anymore. It's stopping their, and they were fairly young too. They weren't too old. I mean,
no,
grandparent, maybe a little bit older than
I
us,
would say
but like, yeah,
60s, early 60s,
probably
maybe.
early
Yeah, not that
60s.
old.
And it's like, I don't know about you, but I never want to, you know, be in that position
Mm-mm.
where that would be so depressing. We only get this life one time here on earth, and I want to live it to the fullest
Mm.
and be as healthy as I can. And Lord willing, hopefully my kids won't have to take care of me. I will just die in my sleep. But yeah, I just feel like, yeah, health is so important. And Al and I are like, we have to talk on this subject. Probably not
Yeah.
enough people talk about it and how important it is, for a marriage. I
Yeah.
feel like,
I mean, by no means have we listened to all the
yeah.
marriage podcasts out there, or not
Mm-mm.
even 1% of them, but I haven't come across
Yeah.
ever
Yeah. I
an
probably have one
episode have
time,
you talking about the importance of
but
health as it relates to marriage. And so I'm sure at some point we'll do another one.
we
And
could do another one just like, yeah, because just our experience
yeah,
and how it's, yeah, changed our marriage for the better,
for
having
sure.
better health.
Yeah. So, Nicole, what do we have in store for our listeners next week?
Well, next week is going to be his needs, her needs,
Ah,
understanding the difference between men and women because we truly are so
so
different.
different.
And then you throw in personalities. Oh my goodness. And then yeah. So it's not only going to be a fun one, but it's going to be, I know, super helpful as well.
That's right. And if this speaking of helpful, if this episode was helpful for you, would you consider helping us to get the word out by sharing this Impact Marriage podcast with at least one other couple who values their marriage? And feel free to check out some of the resources on our website, Allan, ALLAN, and AND, Nicole, NICOLE.com. And yeah,
And if you'd be willing to leave a 5-star review for us on your favorite podcast app or possibly share it on your social media, that would really mean the world to us. Our social media links are in the show notes below.
yes. Thank you so much for considering
Yes.
that. Let's close in prayer, shall we? Lord, I just thank you for this day. I thank you for this technology to be able to communicate with the world and get to share just a little bit of the things that we've learned, some the hard way, as it relates to health, and some of the things that you've taught us. And I just pray that you'd help us all to be better stewards of our bodies that you've entrusted to us to be able to go out and serve. First and foremost, to serve you by serving our spouse, and our children, if we have been blessed with children, and others as well. I pray this information was helpful and that we can apply it to be a healthier, better version of ourselves, to be better children and servants of you, Lord. And ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. See you next week and bye for now.
Thank you for being part of the Impact Marriage community.